Good afternoon and welcome to Christchurch Airport, which is the largest airport on the whole of the South Island of New Zealand and also the main international gateway to New Zealand's South Island. Today we've just got a fairly routine Jetstar flight. We'll be flying up to Auckland this evening, which is a flight time of just over an hour. Obviously we'll be flying in economy class being Jetstar, and it's just actually a repositioning flight actually, as I want to be up in Auckland tonight because I've got an early morning flight tomorrow, which is going to take me to Noumea in New Caledonia, which is with Air New Zealand, so you can see that flight review also on the channel. But let's head into the terminal and see how Jetstar fare for their domestic services in New Zealand. The flight between Christchurch and New Zealand's largest city of Auckland is one of the busiest flight routes in the whole of Aotearoa. There's typically around 15 to 20 daily services. Two airlines operate the route, which include Air New Zealand being the biggest player, but Jetstar, who I'm flying on today, also operate around 3 daily services. Not much diversity of planes on this route. Both airlines generally use their Airbus A320s, which come in all economy configuration. So unfortunately there's no regular opportunities to fly in business class on this route. Neither of the airlines offer free baggage allowance, meals, or any other perks straight off the bat. So both operate on a bundle structure for customers wishing to carry more than just carry-on and luggage, and involuntary seat selection. Getting to Christchurch Airport is really quite easy. It's only a very short drive from the centre of the city. You got several options to get there. Obviously you can get a Uber or a taxi. You can get the super shuttle, which will pick you up, take you the 10 kilometres to the airport in little as 20 minutes. Or you can also take the public bus, which I did today, which did a really good job of getting me to the airport. In fact, today I actually, with a late afternoon flight, I actually went to the International Antarctic Centre, which is literally across the road, which is a great place to, kill some time before or after a flight if you've got a, early or a late departure. So that was really, really recommended that, and they stored my luggage for free as well. So that's a great option as well if you've got a bit of time to kill. Having spent most of the afternoon at the magnificent Christchurch International Antarctic Centre, I got to the airport, across the road, got there about 2 hours ahead of the scheduled departure. I presented the check-in via the kiosk, which will print your boarding passes and bag tags. Unfortunately, Jetstar at Christchurch Airport still rely on the old-fashioned check-in counters, so you'll need to visit them even if you're just dropping your bags. I queued for around 15-20 minutes, which is the line was kind of assembling before the counter even opened. From all my experiences with Jetstar, they generally open the bag drop only 2 hours prior to the scheduled departure, so I wouldn't really recommend trying your luck to get there any earlier. Otherwise, you're probably just going to be stranded with your bags until the bag drop opens anyway. So that's a slight nuisance of flying Jetstar as opposed to Qantas or Virgin, where you can usually drop your bag, any time that day, which is convenient if you're getting to the airport really early. Once you are airside, however, through security, there's not the greatest selection of shops and food and beverage outlets, at least for this particular flight, where a lot of the outlets weren't open. So if you really do need something to eat or drink, it's probably best to do that before going through security. But after half an hour or so airside, not a huge amount to do, but we're now ready to board, so let's head to the gate and join me as we embark on this short journey up to Auckland this evening. All of Jetstar's flights in New Zealand are operated by a single-aisle Airbus A320 aircraft with either 180 or 186 seats in a 3-3 configuration and 30 to 29-inch seat pitch respectively. On this particular flight, I was seated in seat 1A, which was the second variant of the A320 layout. So in other words, the 186 seat version. Seat 1A is a great seat to pick, especially when purchasing the Max bundle. Due to having a bulkhead in front, it did offer less legroom than a more spacious 180 seat Jetstar A320 layout. On the flip side, the seat's legroom wasn't protruded by the door of the plane, and having the bulkhead provided a better barrier to all embarking passengers during boarding. Aside from being in the front row, Jetstar's seats come in a leather upholstery and surprisingly comfortable for only the short domestic flights you'd expect to take within New Zealand. Seat pitch in the general seating of the cabin is certainly on the smaller side, but for a short domestic flight in New Zealand or Australia for that case, it shouldn't really be a problem for most. As we're now firmly taxiing towards the runway and ready to take off, what better time to just sit back, relax and enjoy this quite unique takeoff. It was originally looking like it was going to be quite a dull and cloudy takeoff, but as you'll see, once we go past, climb above the clouds, it's quite a stunning sunset as we fly out over to Auckland this evening. Shortly after takeoff, the crew dropped by and informed me that my flight ticket included an in-flight meal deal, which in this case included a pre-packaged muffin and a hot drink of my choice. So the crew were really efficient. They did well to obviously remember me by name and inform me of my added inclusions, so they were really good to get that served straight away. And then once they'd served all the customers with pre-existing entitlements, they also efficiently did a service of the whole cabin, offering food and drink from the buy on board menu. So yeah, in a short 1 hour flight, the crew did really well to make sure everyone had an opportunity to get food and beverage. It's now been only about an hour since taking off from Christchurch, and we're pretty well already ready to make our descent into Auckland this evening. It's been a pretty uneventful flight really. There's certainly nothing to complain about on this Jetstar flight. Certainly nothing over the top, to really expect about this flight, but certainly nothing's gone wrong either. So yeah, it's been a really good flight. It's just got me from A to B tonight. But anyway, we're about to make our descent into Auckland, so just sit back, relax and enjoy this really impressive nighttime landing into Auckland. And when we're on the ground, I'll offer my final thoughts and verdict on this flight. In summing up today's flight with Jetstar on their Airbus A320 flying domestically in New Zealand, I couldn't really fault the airline really. For what it is, you know, a budget, low-cost way to fly around New Zealand, I think Jetstar did a really good job of getting me from A to B. The Starter Max bundle that I had with my flight, it had really useful inclusions. So for someone who's likely to purchase all the extras like extra legroom, might have a meal or a drink on the plane, they might get want to pay for extra legroom seats or the exit row seats. They value more flexibility. They think their flight might change. Then, yeah, that's a really good product to add on to your flight. Otherwise, yeah, if you just need a cheap way to get from A to B, the starter fare's perfectly fine as well. So considering Air New Zealand don't really offer any full service on their domestic flights in New Zealand, I don't think there's a huge, reason to fly one carrier over the other, apart from perhaps if you've got brand loyalty, you're a frequent flyer at Air New Zealand, there might be that case. But yeah, just for a tourist or someone visiting New Zealand, Jetstar's perfectly fine from getting point A to B. Compared to some of my flights in Australia, I actually found Jetstar to be running a lot more efficiently. So yeah, it really depends. Every flight's different, but on the 2 flights I've taken in New Zealand with Jetstar, they've been perfectly fine. And yeah, everything I've paid for I've got. And yeah, it's a stress-free way to get from A to B. So yeah, really can't complain with Jetstar on this flight up to Auckland this evening. Obviously wasn't really expecting much. But yeah, it was an uneventful flight. And sometimes an uneventful flight is a good flight in this day and age. If you've enjoyed today's journey up to Auckland with Jetstar New Zealand, please feel free to like the video and give the channel a subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell button to be apprised of all the latest flight reviews and other destination themed content as they go to air on the channel. But anyway, in the meantime, if you've liked this video, feel free to follow my website at aussiejetsetter.com.au, where you'll see all the latest flight reviews, destination guides, lounge reviews, industry news, frequent flyer hacks and more. You can also visit me on my socials, which I'll put a link to in the description below. But until next time, thank you very much for watching today's trip report, and safe travels wherever that might take you.